Hello, my name is Jason Crittenden with SciTech Louisiana. In this video, we will learn how to use Trimble Earthworks in a dozer. And what we're looking at here, this is an actual project located in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Okay, when you start your ignition, initiate Trimble Earthworks. We're going to log on to the system by tapping Login. Sensor initializing, this is something that has to be done. So you're going to raise and lower your blade to initialize your sensors. Now we're at our dashboard. So the first thing I like to show is the help menu. So if you tap the three dots, you have a really exceptional onboard tutorial or help menu. Several topics that you can look up. This is a really good one. Some basic troubleshooting for GNSS. And then the job setup tile is where we're going to select our project, our mode, and our design. And here you can have multiple surfaces. This project comes with a finished grade surface as well as a subgrade surface. All right, so we can tap the start bar to enter our work screen. And our design has been loaded. All right, so you notice here, our design name will be displayed. If we need to change it, you can tap and hold the job and it will bring up your job setup. And you'll be able to change anything within the project, mode, or design. Any changes made, you must tap apply to lock it in. Horizontal guidance and offsets, we can tap and hold here. The use case for this would be if you had to offset a curb line, back of curb, to grade it out a little wider. You would select a line. You're going to tap and select the desired line used for guidance or offset. And in the offset window, we can enter a value. This right here really is helpful. Allows an operator to cut to the specified width that the job calls for. So now the new line is going to be the red line. So that is a 2-foot offset. And you can play with this, you can change it, you can save it and repeat it. I'll show you what it looks like. We'll get online here. You can see on the profile window as well as the cross-section window. It'll actually show you where you are. And with machines that have horizontal steering, horizontal guidance will actually drive the machine along the selected horizontal guidance line. To deselect the line, go back to our horizontal guidance and select none, select it, and tap apply. Next is elevation offsets. This is where we're going to offset for our design surface. We need to go above or below our surface. You can do that with this window here, or of course utilize the buttons on your joystick. You can change your increments up or down from the joystick on the blade control. This is your focus, left to right focus point. So once you've selected an elevation offset, you can tap with your finger and it will reset it back to 0. You can also save multiple offsets and tap through them rather than creating them each time. And just show you what it looks like. We'll put it in auto and then we'll toggle the offset back and forth. Zero will represent finished grade on an FG model, finished grade model. So we can enter and save multiple offsets. We can hit save. And then we can actually go and edit, change the name on it. So if this was top of stone or subgrade, whatever you wanted to name it. So you tap the little box next to memory, the 3 dots next to the offset, hit edit. Now you're able to put a name on it. This is really handy when you have multiple machines, multiple operators on a job site. Make sure that everybody's on the same page. This next little button is for overlays. It's where you can toggle on or off whatever you want or do not want to see on your screen. On the points, I like to have icon and name. All right, we're going to go to our system settings menu now. So here we can change the layout. We can have the layout in a 1, 2, or 3 view layout. You can also change the views on the work screen by using 2 finger swipe. You can swipe with 2 fingers and change the views from 1, 2, or 3. Here's your text ribbon. You can set up your text ribbon the way that you need it to display the information that you would like to see. The items in yellow are the items selected and displayed currently on the text ribbon. Text ribbon is on the bottom. So units, this is another one that's you'll need to make some changes on depending on what your needs are. Typically the slopes will be in a combination of percent and degrees. I really like the light and the dark theme. You can actually create a dark background or a dark theme for working in low light conditions or nighttime. Makes this much easier on the eyes when working at night. All right, so increments. By default, your stuff is probably going to be at 300ths or 3/8 of an inch. Some folks like to have it at 500ths. And what that basically means, each time you hit the increment or decrement button on your joystick, that's how much the offset will change. And if you tap the little I for information, anywhere you see that, it'll actually give you a brief description of what you're looking at, what it is. Grade tolerance, you can adjust this, and this is for your light bar adjustments. Generally default, I leave it on default. Right. Let's touch on GNSS precision tolerance. Trimble's recommendation is to always have the machine on medium. This does not make the machine work any better or any worse. This is all to do with your vertical and horizontal precisions. And you'll notice if you accidentally switch to coarse mode, autos are not even available. So if you ever see the message pop up, you know somebody changed it. Go back and change it to medium. So under the sound settings, you can set a buzzer to sound when you're above grade, on grade, or below grade. All right. So we're going to tap this little icon here, and this is going to change our blade focus from left to right. So currently it's on the left side. It is displayed by a red cone. The middle is the vertical guidance. That green bar is the vertical guidance bar. And you'll notice the elevation, cut and fill will change as you raise and lower. So whatever blade focus point you have, so we'll go ahead and slide this over so you can see the elevation. Left blade tip, that is the elevation. Now right blade tip. So if you're checking elevation with your blade tips, or you're checking in your blade tips with your rover, it's important to have it on the correct focus point. So a quick tap of the record a point will create a point. This point stores northing, easting, and elevation. It stores it whichever blade focus point you have selected, that's where it will create a point. Or you can do a long press, a press, tap and a hold of the record point button, and it brings you to the record point menu where you can apply a name, a specific work order or measured data folder that you want to store these points in. Point Manager is where these points live. Tap the three dots. You can edit. We can navigate to the point. So we're actually getting a profile and a cross-section view of the horizontal and the vertical of this particular point. Once we're done navigating, you can press the stop button and it will disengage the navigate to point function. Okay, we're going to talk about overcut protection. By default on your machine, it will be turned off. But if we go to Blade and Advanced Options, we're going to turn overcut protection on and tap apply. I'm going to demonstrate what overcut protection does. Overcut protection is turned on, and that focus point, whatever focus point you have selected, if it crosses a grade break or like any change in elevation, the blade will rise. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate how this is going to work. So if we drive that blade tip into that face of curve on the design, it will automatically raise the blade. So I'll demonstrate now. Trimble recommends that we leave it turned off by default so the blade doesn't move and you're not prepared for it. So as you can see right there, we hit a grade change with the blade focus point, and that blade will rise to avoid you from cutting. All right, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate overcut protection turned off. With overcut protection turned off, it will allow you to overcut. So you could cut beyond the crown of a road or cut to back of curb, and that blade focus point will not make the blade rise. However, if that vertical guidance bar, the green bar, crosses the grade break, then the blade will react. It will raise to that design elevation. You notice as the blade goes beyond the top of curve, allowing the operator to actually cut beyond that. It's holding the grade of the parking lot or roadway. Now take notice when that vertical guidance crosses, now it wants to grade the top of curb elevation. So once the vertical guidance crosses a grade break, the blade will adjust to the changed slope or elevation regardless of overcut protection being on or off. Once the vertical guidance crosses the grade break, the blade will adjust to the changed slope or elevation regardless of overcut protection being turned on or off. So now let's talk a little bit about lane guidance. Lane guidance enables you to work in two different ways: holding a blade onto a surface or a lane, extending a lane sideways. Lane guidance is available when you are in design mode and you have a DSC design loaded and a master alignment is present. So here in the help menu, there's a great explanation along with some illustrations on how lane guidance works. Right, mapping, you can toggle the mapping function on, and mapping is only visible in plan view. So we're going to change our view to plan view, and it will track everywhere the machine tracks, and it will tell you where you're on grade and where you're not on grade. Now, if mapping is left on for an extended period of time, just know that it collects data and saves it on the display, and you're limited to disk space. So you may have an issue where you actually run out of disk space and you start having problems with the TD520 display. If you have the machines on Works Manager, you can actually use and share this data via Works Manager so the office can look at the production data. But this is a great tool. This will show the operator where he's been, where he hasn't been, what's on grade, and what's not on grade. All right, we'll do a review of the work settings that we talked about earlier. We tapped the work settings menu. We discussed the job setup. We discussed horizontal guidance, elevation offsets. We also discussed the blade manager, the cut fill mapping, lane guidance, and let's touch a little bit on valve tuning. So if you go to Autos Optimization, you can actually set the valves, the raise, lower, and tilt speeds according to the material, moisture, and preferred speed of the operator. We'll go back into the work settings menu and we'll look at the layers manager. Layers manager lets you turn off the DXF line work within the design. Now, if you have just a DSZ, which that's what we're looking at, you can toggle on or off the entire DXF file. But if you've got a VCL, you can isolate what you want on from what you want off. For more information, feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching.